Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be trying out not only new products, but we're going to be trying out a new brand, actually two new brands that I have never tried before that have recently launched their first products. As you can see, I do have my full glam on and ready to go. I use the products that we're going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so let's start with the star of the show. What I have on my eyes today, we are going to be trying out and talking about the brand Orbal Cosmetics and their product, which is an eyeshadow palette. And Orbal Cosmetics, I actually heard of them first, and I haven't really seen anybody else talk about them, to be honest. I first saw Orbal Cosmetics mentioned on Rose and Ben's Instagram. She used their palette on her IG stories tutorial, and I really loved the color story. So we've got the eyeshadow palette right here. It comes in this really pretty pink packaging. It says here on the back, elegance with an endless shine, and this brand is both cruelty-free and 100% vegan, which is very important for me. Again, hashtag Carmine allergy. This is the palette on the inside, and wait till you guys see the layout of the colors. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen this already, as I did post about it when I got my palette in, but take a look at how stunning these shades are. Especially these shimmery metallic-y shades, and the matte shades also are super pretty, all colors that I love and use on the regular. What caught my eye mostly about this palette were these topper shimmery metallic shades, so we'll get into detail about that. This palette retails for $50. I was able to get it with a discount during their Black Friday sale. I think I got like 20% off or whatnot, and it is currently in stock if you had heard about it or were looking to purchase it. Let's read some information that came with the box. It says here, I'm beyond excited to share my first product with you, which is the Orbal Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. Founded in 2019 with a mission to create one-of-a-kind makeup products that complement all skin tones while delivering endless luxury at an affordable price. It says here, the inspiration behind this palette is unique. I wanted to create a universal palette that has all the colors needed to create a wide variety of looks, from a classic, simple look to a glamorous, more intense night on the town look. This all-in-one palette includes 18 shades and 3 formulas. Our products go through many rounds of formula testing and revisions to make sure it's as perfect as you, and as always, cruelty-free and vegan. And the owner or the founder, as name is Rana Abu Khalil. As the card mentions, there's 3 formulas in here. Obviously, the matte is one of those formulas. I believe the second formula is topper shades, so shades like this one right here, this one, and this one. And I believe the third formula is going to be like these 2 shades, of more of a metallic shade. Let's go ahead and do a couple swatches. I'm going to swatch the ones that I didn't use today, because with the ones that I did use, you're going to see the swatches in the application portion. So let's swatch a couple of the others. I'm going to swatch some of these matte shades. Let's swatch Henna, Cold Orange. So here we've got Henna and Cold Orange. Okay, so not the best swatches, but here we go. We've got Cold Orange here and Henna. And right next to Henna right here, I swatched one of the mauve tones, and this shade is called As Is. My swatches are not the best, guys, but here we go. This is the next shade. This is Rusty. So you can see we've got some warmer neutral shades there, which is mostly what's in this palette. And here I've swatched some of the other shades, a variety of the formula. So this one right here is called hashtag Orbal Fave. This one in the middle is called Like a Doll. And the last one right here, this kind of bluish green icy shade, is called Celadon. They do leave quite a bit of residue on my finger, and I will say at least this pinky middle shade, Like a Doll, is a little crumbly. So I feel like this one right here is more of a like a metallic formula, and these two right here are more of a topper shimmery shades. And now I'm just covered in glitter and eyeshadow swatches. The next thing we are going to be talking about or using in this video that I am also super excited about are some new products from Rose & Ben Beauty. As I mentioned earlier, I heard about Orbal Cosmetics from Rose & Ben on Instagram. She used it in one of her tutorials, and as of last month, she also launched her own beauty brand, and her first launch is actually brushes. So I picked up 3 of her eyeshadow brushes, and I'm so excited to be able to play with them. I picked up the E29, the E28, and the E27. Okay, so those are all the details on these new products that we're going to be testing out, as well as these 2 new brands. Let's go ahead and get into the demo portion, and then we'll come back with my final thoughts. So here we have the palette with all the shades. I'm not quite sure which shades I want to use for today's look. I definitely want to use some of these metallic shimmery shades. They are all stunning. Okay, so while I'm trying to decide what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes, and I'm gonna be using the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Eye Primer. I've been playing with this one since I got it from my Sephora order. I've used it a couple times. I still don't have a, full opinion on it. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's not. I'm just not giving it a full 5-star review yet because I'm still testing it out. So I will say that if you are going to use this eye primer, make sure you give it enough time to settle or dry down on your eye versus just putting it on and then going right in with eyeshadow. Just like the face primer, Milk Makeup, you want to do the same thing. So far I've found that I do need to let this primer sit longer than I usually do with other eye primers to get the full effect. Something else we're going to be playing with in this video are these new eyeshadow brushes. These are by Rose & Ben Beauty. And if you are not familiar with Rose from Rose & Ben on Instagram, you need to be. I'm going to put her Instagram handle somewhere here on the screen. She does full-on tutorials on her IG stories. She's super detailed, super sweet, super nice. I definitely want to use this shade right here, Rusty Penny. This shade just looks gorgeous. Let's do a swatch here. So that's what it looks like on my finger. It does look like more of a topper, and I am getting a bit of kickback in the pan. Yeah, definitely more of a topper shade. It does have some base color to it, so it's not a clear base, but definitely a topper. Let's take a look. So this is supposed to have 3 different formulas. Matte is one of them, and of these like shimmery metallic shades, I can't tell which formula is which. This blue shade Ashtray seems to be a bit of a topper as well. So there we've got Ashtray right next to it, and you can see it has more of a blue base compared to Rusty Penny. Those seem to be of the same formula, so more of toppers. And this is Ashtray right here in the pan. Let's swatch one more. I'm gonna give this gold shade called Vegas a swatch. Oh wow, yeah, this one is definitely not a topper. So we've got Vegas right there. It's that beautiful gold, yellow gold shade. Oh, that's stunning, that's gorgeous. So let's just dive right in. I think the first shade I'm gonna go in with is going to be this shade right here, Burnt Rose. It's a mauve-y shade. And for that, let's start off with one of these Rose & Ben brushes. I'm gonna be taking the E28, which is shaped like this. And this brush is described as a universal tapered shape that can be used for both diffusing shadow and building color on your eyelids. Pairs with cream and powder shadows. So I've had this primer sitting on my eye for at least a minute or 2, and I'm just gonna pat out anything there. Some of the foundation and or concealer is creasing, so I'm just tapping that out. And I'm gonna dip into that Burnt Rose shade just on the side of the brush. it didn't seem to pick up very much. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this just a bit above my crease, and I'm gonna tap it and see what we get. Okay, so there we go. It's a pretty subtle color. I'm gonna take a little bit more on the brush and again tap it. Okay, there we go. There we got that color building up. So I am tapping and pressing this color, and I am bringing it a bit down towards my crease. I hope you guys can see. So I'm going pretty much up to my brow bone. Sorry, I'm going up just to right under my brow bone. Okay, the shade looks pretty true to what it looks like in the pan. I'm actually gonna also angle it up this way and kind of drag it out to create a subtle V shape out here. These shadows, at least for the matte so far, this one at least seems to be pressed pretty firmly. It takes quite a bit to pick up product on the brush. I'm bringing that same burnt rose shade down into my crease, again patting, kind of doing a pat and swipe motion, and it's just kind of in this outer V area. I'm not bringing anything onto my lid here. So just so you guys can see, it is a pretty subtle mauve color. There it is on my middle finger. It doesn't really show up that well on the swatch. So if you're a deeper skin tone, this may or may not show up on you. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we've got both eyes done, and you can see that did give us a pretty mauve-y wash of color, not super intense. I did have to go in several times and layer it to get the pigment to where I wanted it to be. I'm more of a light medium skin tone, and I do have warm olive undertones. So again, if you are deeper than I am, I don't know if this color will necessarily show up on you unless you're using like a white or a flesh toned, a lighter toned base. I really want to dip into this blue shade right here called Deepest. It is such a gorgeous blue color. And there is the blue shade. Didn't swatch very well because I did have some eye primer on this finger, but you never know really with eyeshadow swatches. Your best bet is to test it out on your eye. So let's go ahead and go in with that blue shade. I'm gonna take that on a Sigma E55. It's this flat shading brush, but it's a bit denser than your typical one. And I'm gonna pick up about that much. I just kind of tapped it in, I dabbed it in and did a little swipe. And so I probably should have done my base after my eyes because I'm hoping we don't get any fallout. And what I'm gonna do with this shade is I'm gonna place it on the outer corner and tap. No windshield wiper motion, we're just gonna tap it. So here we go, we're gonna tap and keep that color concentrated on the outer corner. Okay, there we go. That is pretty pigmented. And keep in mind, the only eyeshadow base I have on is the Hydro Grip eye primer right now, and I'm just tapping that shade. Picked up a little bit more, and I'm gonna do the same thing. With whatever is on the brush, I'm gonna keep tapping and bring it in to kind of midway of my eyelid. And you can see how we're getting that gradient of color. It again, just whatever was on that brush after that second tap in, and bringing it up into the crease to blend it into that mauve burnt rose shade. Again, just with whatever is on the brush, we're kind of tapping and dragging that color towards the center of the lid. I want to diffuse it as it comes further in on the lid because we're going to put one of those shimmery colors on as well. Okay, so let's pause and just take a look. I feel like this blue shade is concentrating like right here where I had that initial lay down, but it doesn't seem to be giving me as much coverage as I want, like up here in the crease. Maybe I need a different type of brush. I'm gonna take this ColourPop E1 brush. It's a little looser, not as densely packed as that Sigma brush, and take some of that color and bring it up into the crease a little bit to see if I can even out the shade. Okay, that's looking better. Okay guys, so I feel like I am really struggling to get this shade. Maybe it's just this one shade to get it to move. It's just concentrated right there where I put my initial lay down, and while I am able to move the shade back and forth, it's still this, like, I don't want to call it a patch, but this like piece right here is not wanting to budge. This may be the primer, just may not be communicating well with the primer, so keep that in mind. But let's keep going. I'm going back in with the initial color that we used, the burnt rose. And I'm using it to blend into the blue that's here in the crease. Let's try this on the other eye. Okay, much better on this side. It's blending out more seamlessly. What I did different is I didn't go out with as much on the brush versus when I went on this side. I think I put a large deposit. I'm kind of building my way and tapping with less pressure on this eye, and you can see, well, I hope you can see, it's so much more seamless on this eye. So I should have stuck to what I know and stuck to what I usually do, is go a little bit at a time and build the color up. Yeah, so much better. Look how much cleaner that looks and how much more seamless this looks compared to this eye. And just so you guys are aware, this eye is usually the one that gives me issues. I usually have a patch out here that eyeshadow, depending on the eyeshadow, it doesn't blend well over, and I'm actually seeing no issues with this one. So here's what we have so far. Next, I really want to play with some of these topper glitter shades. I think I definitely want to go into the shade Ashtray. Because this is a topper, and we laid down this kind of this dark blue, deep blue color, I am gonna take a little bit of my clean canvas base from Orbal Cosmetics, just a little bit, and apply some to that portion of my eyelid that we haven't put shadow of the clean canvas, just to give it something under which it will be brighter. I'm gonna go in with my finger into Ashtray, do a little swirl, and that's what we have, and I'm just gonna press it right on top. Oh wow, that's pretty. It's like a really subtle, well actually it's not subtle, but it just gives the perfect hint of sparkle when the light catches it. I'm going to concentrate a bit more of that just right here in the middle, and then blend it out towards the inner corner. I want the middle portion to be what really catches the eye, and we're going to keep this outer portion matte. This has such a pretty sparkle. Oh, I really like that. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is I wanna take one of these other sparkly colors. I think I wanna take this, a shade, it's called Early Sparks, or do we wanna do Old Lace? Let's see here. We've got Early Sparks right here and Old Lace. Old Lace has more of a gold, warm undertone versus Early Spark I think is a more neutral. So maybe we'll go in with Early Sparks, this one right here on the inner corner. But before we go in there, and I hope I don't mess up the entire look with this, I am gonna go into the black shade into this palette right here called Kohl, or Kohl in English. And I'm taking kind of this flat detailer brush, and I'm gonna dip it in just on the very tip of the brush to give us kind of a liner effect. So there we go. You can see I picked up some on the brush. And I'm gonna get it as close as I possibly can to my lash line. And just on this outer corner here, I don't want to go over the sparkle too much. Tapping it out just to give me a little bit of depth. See that compared to this eye? And if you feel you're not great with winged liner or a liquid liner, using eyeshadow as your liner is a great way to start off to get comfortable. There we go. So it looks like we've got just the illusion of a wig, just the illusion of a wing. For that inner corner shade, we're actually going to be using another of the Rose and Bend brushes, and this is the E27. And look how unique the shape of that brush is. You don't see this type of brush very often. So with that, I'm going to pick up a little bit of Early Sparks. Oop, I think I picked up a lot of it. And I'm going to spritz just a little bit of setting spray on this because I did notice a little bit of fallout with the Ashtray shade. We're gonna place that at the innermost corner of the eyelid and blend it into the Ashtray shade. So pretty. It looks like fairy dust almost to me. Like it's not an intense pop inner corner shade, but it gives you just this really beautiful sparkle. You definitely have some fallout. Hindsight is 20/20. If you're going to be using this shades, definitely do your eyes first and then your base. So we've got the bulk of the eye look done. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup off camera, and then we'll come back and talk about my final thoughts. And we are back. I finished off the rest of my makeup and also completed the eye look. I added some lashes and did a little bit on the lower lash line. So this is the finished look. For details on the rest of the makeup that I have on today, I will put that in the description box below if you are interested. So let's talk about my final thoughts on the Orbal Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. First off, I do think overall as a whole, the palette is stunning. The shades look beautiful. All of these shimmers, toppers, metallic, whatever you want to call them, are just absolutely stunning. It is important to know that several of these more shimmery shades are toppers. So again, Ashtray, Rusty Penny, looked like Early Sparks, and Old Lace all seem to be toppers, as well as Next Level, which is this purpley shade right here, are toppers. So you're not going to get much of a base color to it. It does give you this really beautiful sparkle when the light hits it. I don't think I have toppers, eyeshadow toppers that do this, and for that I am really excited. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head that comes close to this is the Auric eyeshadow toppers, the one that comes with the cream shadow at the bottom and the topper on top. This guy right here, I have mine in the shade Defiance, and this is what the topper looks like on the inside. So you can see it doesn't look as sparkly as the ones in the Orbal Cosmetics palette. The Burnt Rose shade that we used as a transition, I think blended beautifully. It did take a bit to build up the amount of pigment that I wanted on my eyes. And like I mentioned before, if you are a deeper skin tone than me, then you may have to work a bit harder to get this shadow to show that specific color, or use something like the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas eye primer or any other eye base. The black shade worked beautifully. I didn't use too much of it, but from what I did use, I was able to create the illusion of this wing on my outer eye, on my outer corners. I also used it just a little bit on the lower lash line on both eyes. And the blue shade, the one that we used right here, while it is a stunning color, I do feel like you need to be a bit careful on how you use it. If you deposit too much shadow in one go, you are gonna have a harder time blending it out. At least that was my experience. I usually don't do that. If you've been here on my channel before, you'll know I usually like to go with a small amount and build my way up, but I don't know what compelled me to put that much on the eyeshadow brush. On this eye, it blended beautifully. On the other side, when I did go a little bit at a time, I didn't get any fallout from the matte shades. However, I did get some fallout from these topper shades. So either number one, do your eyes first if you want to avoid that fallout of the shimmer on this area of your face, or you can also lay down powder under your eyes to catch any of that excess fallout and then brush it off at the end. I do want to say congratulations to the owner of Orbal Cosmetics, as this is their first product. I can only imagine how hard it is to put yourself out there and launch a cosmetics line. So again, congratulations to her on launching her brand, and I can't wait to see more products. We also in this video used a couple of the Rose and Ben brushes, which I really loved. Super soft, super easy to work with. I love the shape of this guy right here. I think this is gonna help me a lot with doing my inner corner area, especially if I'm using a shade with my finger and I tend to overdo it just because my finger doesn't really fit in there, or if I have my nails long. So this is gonna come in handy, and I can't wait to try more from Rose and Ben Beauty. And we've come to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button before you leave and give this video a like. Leave me a comment below if you've heard of Orbal Cosmetics or if you've tried it already. And also, go ahead and tag a new indie brand that you feel like is not getting enough recognition. There are so many new brands out there. It's hard to know all of them, so I'd love to hear your guys' recommendations on some newer brands that I could try out. Thank you guys for spending some time out of your day with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.